Hey, you guys are watching Apologia TV, where we interview filmmaker Darren Doane. Do you ever wonder who made all those Kirk Cameron films? Great, right? Darren Doane. Not Left Behind. He didn't make those. Not those. Not. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Another episode of Apologia TV. Jeff the Ninja, that's Luke the Bear over there.
What up?
And that's Rebecca the Lady.
I am.
We call her the Lady. It's the best thing we can figure out. It's what worked best.
It's appropriate.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, is that Ivy Connerly? You're playing right there?
This is actually with the
What's Chocolate Knox?
Count Chocula, as it says on my iPad.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, baby.
Yeah.
I love Chocolate. We haven't had him on in a long time.
I've tried.
Yeah?
He's got bigger and better things to do, apparently.
Obviously,
Which
apparently.
we might be talking
we
about.
might talk a little bit about
Yeah.
what he's doing and the person he's doing it with.
Yeah.
So, hey, let me tell you something. I was a pastor, chaplain at a hospital for 4 years as a drug and alcohol rehab, and you know this. Every single month, people were there for about 30 days, and so just unbelievers just come into this place to detox, and there was a Christian program I was in charge of, and so I would get these people for 30 days, and, you know, most of them were, you know, high as a kite coming into the room, and others were just on the tail end of stuff, and people coming to Christ. But what I made sure that I did every single month was I played, as an opportunity to springboard into a larger discussion, I played one of my favorite documentary films. And what was that?
I don't know. Tell me.
Collision.
Oh, Collision.
Collision. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I knew that. I was joking.
Collision, one of my favorite documentary films ever. I mean, just absolutely an amazing film. The content is amazing. The conversations, what it captures is awesome. And this film, I want to say, I'm going to play the trailer here in a second. This film actually led to so many gospel conversations and so many people coming to Christ. I don't know how to tell you really the impact of this film, but I'm going to play for you right now. This is a film by Darren Doane. It is called Collision, and one of my favorite documentaries. Again, it follows Douglas Wilson and Christopher Hitchens on a debate tour, and here you go.
Imagine there's no heaven above us, all right? No hell below us, all right? Above us, only sky, all right? Imagine there's no heaven, all right? I want you to fix this. There's no heaven, there's no hell below us, above us, only sky. What does that mean?
Because I think the teachings of Christianity are immoral. Saying you must love someone who you also must fear. That's to say, a supreme being. He thinks Jesus Christ was a real person, was the Son of God, was crucified, dead and buried, suffered under Pontius Pilate, and rose again from the dead. So I know where I am with him.
Christopher Hitchens is a public intellectual, which is to say he's the kind of intellectual who matters. He's a man of great abilities, he's quick on his feet.
You put it modestly, but it is a fantastically arrogant claim. Isn't it rather the case that with God, anything is permissible?
I want you to give me the evidence for an objective moral standard that governs all of us. And you can't appeal to innate anything because those conflict. You can't appeal to the general consensus because those differ over time. You haven't given any evidence whatever for all your condemnations of this, that, and the other thing.
Grow, I mean it, Douglas, grow up. You have to.
By what standard do you condemn any action?
There you go, Collision, and that was a film by Darren Doane. Really highly recommend that to you guys. It's an older one. It came out a couple years ago, but it is well worth your time. One of my favorite documentaries. And we actually have very special guests today, don't we, Luke?
Yes.
Rebecca, are you excited?
I am
The lady's
very excited.
Yes, I know
The lady's
who's,
excited.
I know who's
I'm surprised
really
you,
excited.
I'm surprised you didn't have like a bear's roar ready because you're so thrilled.
I'm not Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus is
I'm
a bit
excited,
fanboy.
but I'm not like Marcus.
He's a
Marcus
bit
excited.
fanboy.
Yeah, he's a little
King
bit,
Ginger
yeah.
was a bit fanboy, baby.
He's pretty excited.
Just a little bit.
He's
so, hey,
he's wearing his I Heart Darren Doane shirt right now.
Darren Doane is actually Douglas Wilson's friend, right?
Homeboy.
He's
his homeboy.
He's Doug's bud. And actually, Darren Doane, as I hear, a big fanboy of Baptist theology.
That's what I heard, too.
He just loves it.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome to the show, Darren Doane.
That was the introduction?
That was your introduction to Apologia TV, man.
Wow, that was some strange rhetoric there. It was like I was ready for the big collision. The big collision, here it is, and it was like, and loves Baptist theology. It's like, whoa, and I'm caught off guard. I actually do love. Well, I actually do love Baptist. I mean, I was, I think I had, I think at least the first 5 or 6 years of my walk was born in a Baptist world. So I very much relate, and love all my Baptist brethren. So, but maybe we can talk about that later. So yeah, so I'm a big fan of Baptists.
Good. So Darren, you are, to my mind, one of the greatest Christian filmmakers, just filmmakers, and you happen to be a Christian as well. And I love what you do. And I actually, would I be wrong in saying that a lot of what you do is Christian propaganda?
I hope so.
There you go. Good. I'm glad that you accept. Now explain that though, because I mean that can have a slant sometimes as a very negative thing, propaganda. But when we talk about what you do, not only is it high quality, not only is it a good story, but it really is telling a larger story, and it really is Christian propaganda. Talk about that from your perspective as a Christian and as a director. What's behind all that? Your films have a very focused goal and aim. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I think I would back up first. I mean, that was a very kind and gracious statement, But it's interesting because when I made Collision, this, I forget how many years ago it was now, but we didn't have what we have now as far as how the internet works and just different ways of people connecting. Like it was still different. And I remember we had an opportunity to just do what I thought was cool at the time, just a direct release, like with Amazon. And so there really wasn't any hype when we put it out. It was kind of like we made the movie, we put it out, and if we can all put our minds, kind of back, however many years ago it was. And I remember that the first reviews that started coming in was just like, this movie's horrible.
What?
And it was, and all the reviews were sort of coming in real time on Amazon, and it was like, wow, I just made the worst movie in the world. And I remember being like,
hang on to that. I want to hear the rest of the story. We're coming into a commercial break right now.
Already? Okay, well, again, that's a great place to leave off. Yeah, I made the worst movie ever.
We'll be right with the worst film ever. So thank you guys, Apologia TV. Be right back, guys, with Darren Doane talking more about the film Collision and a lot more. Be right back.
Hi, this is Mortimer with Apologia Radio. I want to ask for y'all good friends of ours to go on and click that button there and become my friends on the Bookface. Facebook /Apologia Radio. Become my friend on YouTube. That there twerker. The twerker, I want to talk to you on the twerking. And send me out a twerk. What? Wait, what? Twitter. Apologia Radio on Twitter. And also want to tell you we talk about apologetics and theology, and we do a lot of swing dancing, and we make a delicious chicken gravy. ApologiaRadio.com.
So, we left that segment abruptly.
A little bit.
Yeah.
With Darren talking about the first reviews coming in real time for what I thought was one of the greatest documentaries ever. The reviews
Apparently
coming in.
not everybody thought
Not
that.
everyone thought
not
so.
everybody.
Reviews coming in. This is the worst film ever. So Darren, how did things work out from there? Because that's actually incredible to me.
Well, I mean, it was so fascinating because on the one hand, it was through Amazon, and they had this real-time click count every time somebody bought one, and a little dinger goes off, and it just kept dinging and dinging, and I was like, this is crazy. I mean, it was people. I kept thinking like someone bought it, and I don't know who that person is. And then after about 50, I was like, well, I have less than 50 friends. So I knew at that point it was going more than, people that I actually knew at that time. And, but the reviews were like, this is just horrible. This sucks. This guy doesn't know how to make a film. This guy seems to want to be on his knees the whole time, shooting up into people's noses. It's the worst audio mix, the sound, the music, the coloring. This is amateur hour. And I remember thinking like, wow, like I really just made a piece of junk, and this is really weird because it's one of those sort of like, for most of my career, I'd make projects for other people. So when you're working with a band or a persona, you're working off of their cool points. So if I make a cool video for a cool band, it's because they're cool. And Collision was one of the first things where I was like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do that first, like I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to do what I think I'm passionate about, and which, so I was really into it. I remember when the movie was done, I was like, this is the kind of movie that I would love to watch. And all of a sudden the reviews came in and I was like, oh no. I was like, and I remember, I think I was depressed for a long time. And then we got, and then we got invited. Someone said, hey, we have an opportunity. This work gets really sad and pathetic. And I'll send you a picture. It'll make this episode great. We got invited to, there was some new Christian book festival something in Texas somewhere. Okay. And they had planned on about 10 to 15,000 people attending. They said, hey, do you want to premiere Collision here? We're like, yes. And so we go there and we got to this ballroom and they had like 8,000 seats set up. It was like, this is crazy, that the screen there and stuff. And so throughout the day I'm walking around and I'm just not seeing anybody at the convention center. And I'm like, wow, this is really weird, and then cut to the chase. That night, there's like 30 people in this room with like 8,000 seats. And I remember thinking, even though it's 30 people, I should try to get them all to move up towards the front so I can maybe get a picture so it looks like people are watching the movie. And if I cropped it the right way, it would look like people are watching. So it was literally me, Doug Wilson, Christopher Hitchens, and like 30 people in the room that had like, I don't know, thousands of seats. And I remember just thinking like, yep, okay, time to move on. And then I remember I really didn't think much about it. To be honest with you, I was like, yeah, I kind of made a movie. Some people, I thought it was cool, but I was like, this was a flop. And it wasn't until years later I actually started meeting people who were talking about it as the internet really became a part of people's lives. And all of a sudden, but it wasn't until probably a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, year and a half ago, where people started like saying like, hey, I really like that movie. So I had no idea people liked it. That's a true story.
Wow. It's interesting, Darren, when I would show it, I'm not sure if I owe you anything for this, any royalties or anything like that. So we have to talk after the show.
No.
Showed it.
No one else paid us for it. So.
Yeah, okay. I showed it once a month. I like to give everybody in this hospital an opportunity to engage with me and try to refute, the Christian worldview and present that as an opportunity to give them the gospel. And this film offered me every month the opportunity to have a springboard. And I got to tell you, Darren, just to offer you some encouragement just about the film and I think righteous propaganda. This film captured the attention of everybody in every room that I played it in the entire time, which is honestly a difficult thing to do with a bunch of drug addicts who are generally detoxing on medication and or coming in completely high. It was a powerful thing.
Well, those are my people. Now that doesn't surprise me because those are my people. That story I buy.
That's your demographic, right?
yeah, pretty much. Meth heads, and like skater punks.
Yes.
Right on.
So, okay, I'm going to lead into sort of like a discussion about the overall framework and worldview that you're operating under, because you do something, Darren, that is different. You do something different in terms of you're not putting out crap, and you're not telling bad stories, and everything you're doing, I think, is edgy. It's trying to actually outdo the unbelievers. And really beat them at their own ground, and that's something that's different in the area of like Christian film, because most Christian films are just they're just awful,
Right.
and I don't want to watch them,
Okay.
and so I appreciate that, but there's a reason why. But let me just, before we get to that, this would be a perfect springboard. You have a new film coming out called Stonewall, and I got chills up and down my body when I saw this first trailer. This is Stonewall, Darren's new film coming out soon.
First of all, Doug's got to be brave to go into that kind of thing.
As a gay instructor, as an atheist.
I mean, I don't think we ever had a security plan for Doug before.
It's an assertion by raw power by claiming victimhood.
Rebellion.
Charge is you're a racist.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay.
You're a sexist.
Douglas Wilson, go away.
And you're anti-gay. Racist, sexist, anti-gay. Douglas Wilson, go away.
Right. And it's stated in such a way as to rhyme.
This is not the first time I run into the tolerance buzzsaw.
Powerful, powerful. And this is what I want to say, Darren. Yeah, I know, man. I tell you what. Okay, so Darren, this is what this.
It's scary just listening to it.
It
I was
is.
like, whoa, this is like Sinister 4.
Yeah, and I saw all that, the original videos when they came out, and so when you put all this together, I mean, it just brought chills. But I missed something, Darren. I missed something, and that was that banner in the background. I never saw that, and where it says, "The queer shall inherit the earth." And that segues perfectly into a description of Christian propaganda and what you're doing with a long-term vision in the world. You have a view of the world that's different. You have a view of the world that has Christians living in it and the unrighteous being uprooted from it. You have a long-term vision for the future, which I think affects what you're doing in your films and where you're aiming. I mean, I think it'd be good to say, the queer shall inherit the earth. That's the antithesis really of our worldview. It's the meek shall inherit the earth. God gives us the world.
Right. Now I could go on a tangent, but are we up against a hard break?
Well, again, we got about 30 seconds before a break, so I'd love to hear what you just have to say.
Yes.
And then we have much more time. This is the terrible thing about being on a network. You got these short segments, but
no, it's fine.
Just give me a burst.
Yeah,
give me a burst about your long-term vision.
Well, look, I mean, I'm a trader. I spent the first 25 years of my life, not as a Christian. So I'm a trader, and that's the coolest thing in the entire world. To me, I came from the world system I was in was a punk rock, complete disobedience, mind frame. And so when I became a Christian, it was like, you know what? I mean, it was clear that I was still going to be disobedient, and now I was just going to be disruptive to the side that I left, and that's what I get a kick out of.
Hang there. I want to hear the rest of the story. Apologia TV, guys. Be right back with Darren Doane. Exciting show, guys. What's up, guys? This is Jeff Durbin with Apologia TV. I want to encourage you to check out our new show on the NRB network, and may God bless you with an abundance of goats for doing so.
Wrong show.
What?
Wrong show.
Sorry. That's our boy IV. Hey, he's coming out soon, isn't he?
He's supposed to be.
We're gonna do something with him soon.
Darren knows Ivy.
Yeah, he does.
I know Ivy. AD. I was just wondering. I dropped my towel last week and I had my towel around my neck for a week now. If you could just get that wet spot behind my neck, I just got it.
He's always got his towel.
That is classic.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
my
great.
alarm didn't go off this morning. It's the weirdest thing.
We're learning all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You got
gold.
any dirt on Marcus?
Yeah.
Oh.
We didn't save that for the after show.
Aftermath.
Me and Marcus gotta reconnect. Last I heard, he was in some like new covenant non-eating meat something. I gotta slap that boy around.
He's making fun of your vegetarianism.
Yeah, pray for Marcus, would you?
And the only thing I could think was, well, then he must have met a girl who was vegan or vegetarian or something. Like, is like that's cool. If that's what you gotta do to get married, like I'm in. Like
you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's
You gotta be you.
That's the Chris Rock thing. That's pure Chris Rock, right? If your spouse is a crack addict, you better be a crack addict or it ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Like you gotta. So
that's crazy. Okay, so Darren,
yeah, I'm actually, and by the way, I actually, I don't make fun of Marcus that much. I mean, I do, but I always want to give credit where credit is due, and we actually had a phenomenal campaign when we were doing Unstoppable with Kirk Cameron, and we were all in the we were all in the office, and the Facebook got shut down, and I get this phone call, and everyone's like, they shut down Facebook. YouTube, it's all been shut down, and I got the PR team from Sony calling, and they're all like, we're gonna lay into them, we're gonna go, and I'm sitting in the office, and then Marcus kind of peeks his head out, and he goes, you should just make that the story that they shut you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, so one could argue, since this is Apologia Radio, we like to argue and debate, one could argue that the success of Unstoppable had a lot to do with Marcus opening his mouth.
Boom.
So
that's a big boost for
That's
Marcus.
why we hired him.
That's why he's our producer and director. Yeah, he just said some good stuff about you, dude. So yeah.
So I'll just throw that out there. So there.
Yeah. He's like, that's all you're gonna get. That's it. It's only happening one time here, exclusive.
That's all you get. But I'm gonna beat that boy when it comes to meat when I see him face to face. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, so Darren, we were talking about how
I'm gonna make him chew his own. I will make him chew his own arm off when I get done with him. He's gonna eat that much meat. He's gonna eat his arm.
So you come to Christ, and you're calling yourself a rebel, and I think that's actually interesting, because I think that in many ways, in many respects, yes, because what you produce, what you're coming up with, what you're putting out into the world is very rebellious against our current culture. And Darren, let's be honest, it is also the worldview you put forth and what you're actually putting into the world. Your art, your media is actually rebellious to the common Christian claim about the future. There's so much that you have invested in the future. Talk about that.
Well, I mean, there's like three questions in there.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that's how we do it here at Apologia. We make it very hard.
Yeah, no. It's nice. Usually when I'm face to face with people, I'm quicker, But one, I would say that in a lot of ways, my art is actually still very childish, but that's okay. Because I think God's taken me on my own narrative in regards to that. I loved punk rock. I loved independent stuff. I loved dirty fanzines and people cutting up, making photocopies, doing black and white pictures, all that stuff. And so I grew up on all that punk rock stuff. And so for me, those are the things that still really inspire me. People who say, even hip hop inspires me, because it's just give me a microphone. Just give me a microphone, give me a beatbox, and I'll go. Those are the things. But they're still very childish, and I think we need to grow from those things, and I think we will get there, and I think other people will do that. But I think in my own journey, I'm doing punk rock. I don't care, give me a microphone, give me a camera, we'll just go and we'll just do this and we'll shoot it. So I think I'm doing the equivalent of kind of a dirty fanzine, because my work is rough, and it's very rough around the edges. It's not polished. But the same thing when I saw punk bands take the stage and play 3 chords, but they played those 3 chords like they really meant it. And so for me, I've only got 3 chords kind of as a filmmaker, but I love those 3 chords, and I just keep pushing them and pushing them and pushing them.
Yes.
And then in regards to being just defiant, I love being defiant, but now I get to be defiant for the kingdom against, anyone that kind of comes against that kingdom.
Yes.
And to me, that's really, really fun. I grew up getting in fights. I grew up with an older brother that just beat the tar out of me, all the time. So I don't mind getting punched in the face and anything minus getting, actually physically beaten is just easy and fun. So it's fun to be a troublemaker. I pray for my kids every night, and I say, hey, Lord, make these kids troublemakers. I want these kids to be troublemakers for the bad guys. And that comes into what you were saying. I have a long-term view. I don't believe this world's coming to an end anytime soon. And so the best thing to do is to be a troublemaker.
That's godly troublemakers. Man, you're preaching my sermon, Darren. I like you, Darren. I like you.
Well, I like you too. I mean, this is exciting.
You're preaching my sermon, brother. That's good. Hey, let's do this. Let's do this. We're going to have more with Darren in the after show in just a moment. If you'll join us, Darren, we want to talk more about Stonewall. The film. And this is really important. I'm going to make sure everyone can hear this. We're going to have a special. We just cut this deal with Darren right now, in actually the break. We're going to have a special for Apologia Radio listeners for a 24-hour period. Apologia Radio listeners only will be able to get the pass to watch Stonewall, the film, in a 24-hour period. You'll have a code. We'll figure this out to where Apologia Radio's All-Access members are going to get a key to watch the film before anybody else does. We're going to do that for you guys to get you the opportunity to see Darren's film. And we're going to play more of these trailers in a moment. That just gives me chills. So Darren Doane, the film is Stonewall. You can go over to apologiaradio.com. You can get the all access. You can check out more with Darren right here at Apologia TV in our after show. We're going to talk more about Stonewall, more about the biblical worldview. Darren said something a moment ago. He said that he anticipates being around for a while longer, that the world's not coming to an end anytime soon. That's what we believe. That's straight post-mill, baby. And that's the kingdom of God is victorious. Jesus putting his enemies under his feet. Darren is one of those dudes. He's one of those brothers that's a godly troublemaker that's getting in the face of the culture with the gospel and is causing a ruckus. So we'll be back in the after show with Darren Doane. This is Apologia TV. That's Rebecca the lady.
I am.
That's Luke the bear.
Peace out.
We'll be back. The conversation is going to continue at apologiaradio.com. That's where we're going to have our after show. We're going to have more content, more conversation, some really great stuff. You go over there to get it at apologiaradio.com by becoming all access. Go check it out.